Good morning. I'm here to talk about day 3 of my water fast. As much as I want to say a lot of positive and encouraging things about fasting because I believe it's a wonderful healing process and I'm so glad I did it, today I'm going to talk about some things that have been a little bit more on the negative side for me because I'm just going to be honest about my experience and what I'm going through so far. On day 3 of my water fast, it was a more difficult day. It was just a little bit of everything. Nothing in particular was severe, but it was a little fatigue, a little hunger, a little uncomfortable. Um, as far as being really clear minded, I was expecting to have a super clear thought process, and I did in a respect, which was one of the positives. So I guess I'll save that for another day. But it wasn't continuous. There was clear thinking, but there was a little bit of brain fog here and there. So day 3 was kind of difficult, but I got through it because I just told myself that day 4 is supposedly going to be a good day. I just have to get through today and it's going to get easier tomorrow. And I did, and it was fine. That's how that went. Now, today is day 3 of the transition off the fast. And today I will be adding prune juice to my routine. Yesterday, I ended up eating cantaloupe for breakfast, cucumbers for lunch, and I was going to eat either cucumbers or cantaloupe again for supper. But I am having some symptoms that are problematic, and I was very hungry, so I decided to go ahead and have the plain white rice that I had cooked as part of the burritos that my family ate. In the white rice, I did not use oil. I used Celtic sea salt, cilantro, and lime juice. And then I sprinkled more lime juice on my cucumbers and put fresh cilantro on top with more salt. So those are the only, 5, 6 ingredients that I had for supper last night. And it did feel good. It felt somewhat satisfying to have that nice warm rice added to my meal, and I thought that wouldn't be too heavy or too difficult to digest. So that was okay. Um, I am discouraged, though, about my fast in a particular respect, and that is with the phlegm and the coughing. I used to get really, really bad phlegm. It was one of the symptoms, as it turned out. I had multiple symptoms telling me that I was allergic to dairy. And when I stopped eating dairy, the phlegm problem essentially completely went away. Most days I had no trace of it, and I enjoyed that for a good couple of years. This past winter, I noticed that the phlegm was starting to come back, and I wasn't eating dairy, although I had become a little less strict. I used to make sure there was no trace of dairy in anything. And this last winter, occasionally, there might have been a little bit of butter on something, or there may have been casein in a vegetarian meat product I was eating, but I wasn't outwardly, just outright, deliberately eating dairy products. But it didn't seem to matter. It seemed to get to the point where every time I ate something, I was having something in my throat or some coughing afterwards. Even when I was eating kale salad, even when I was eating grapefruit, things that I can't imagine what in them would have been a trigger for that. Then in January, I got a cough, a pretty bad cough that lasted for about a week and then continued on to fade out for probably 3 weeks after that. And when I was at the tail end of that cough, I was back to kind of my normal, where I still had this phlegm and coughing, but at that point I'm like, I don't even know anymore if this is the end of my cough or if this is just normal for me now, because every time I eat or even drink water, I get this cough. So that was one of the things that prompted me to want to start the fast, because I believed that I would be able to clear that out, reset my body, and then start again fresh with new habits and introduce whole foods very slowly back into my diet, and I just assumed everything would be fine. Well, during the fast, I didn't anticipate I got a runny nose real bad for a few days. That concerned me, but I found out that could be just part of detox, part of the body clearing itself out. Could have also been because I was so cold during the detox. And then I started to get that really dry mouth at night that I've talked about. And that was getting to the point the last couple of nights where, because my mouth and throat were so dry at night, that I was starting to feel a throat pain during the day. Kind of like having a sore throat, except for I don't believe I'm coming down with a sickness. I think it's from that dry breathing at night, drying out my throat. So I did put the humidifier in my room last night, and that combined with eating the rice, I hoped would be enough to take away the problem. It did alleviate it somewhat, but it didn't completely take it away. My throat is scratchy this morning. My voice sounds bad. And my mouth is dry, and I still feel something on the surface of my tongue, which doesn't feel good. So on the one hand, I'm thinking, okay, even though I've started eating, I must still somewhat be in a state of ketosis. I'm still detoxing. So I'm still in the process of achieving my goal. Don't worry, don't be too hard on yourself. But I'm also waking up in the morning with phlegm, like yellow phlegm, hoping that it's my body getting stuff out. But I guess it feels discouraging because I guess if I started the process with phlegm, I was hoping that the fast would take that away. Or if I had started the fast with no phlegm and then I got it during the fast, I would take it as a sign that my body is ridding itself of things. But right now I just feel crummy and worse and not really sure where this is going. Every time now that I eat cucumbers, I have to cough afterwards. So I'm starting to question myself. Maybe I should have done more research. The way I did this is based off of the information I had, partly gut instinct, partly an experiment. I just wanted to try doing it this way. It felt right to me. I'm going to stick with the course. I need to be flexible, I guess, with myself. Just because I said I wasn't going to eat carbs for another week, if I felt I needed to eat rice last night, I needed to eat rice. So now this morning my plan is I'm going to eat cantaloupe for breakfast with some prune juice and cucumbers and rice for lunch, and then probably just plain cucumbers for supper. But I've already introduced cilantro and parsley, lemon juice, lime juice, cayenne pepper, and Celtic salt. So now those are a go. Anytime that I want to add those to my food, I have permission to do that for myself. Also last night, I started a parasite treatment. I shouldn't probably call it a treatment. It's an herbal supplement and it's parasite support. So it's not necessarily a cleanse or a medication or something that's guaranteed to kill all parasites. But I just thought this seemed like a good time to do it. And I didn't want to do it during the cleanse or on cucumber day because I just was afraid of what all those herbs might do in my stomach. I didn't want to do it on like an empty stomach. But right now my stomach is not fully full. I still, to a sense, feel like I'm fasting, and I've basically just gotten used to the feeling of being hungry. I can tell that I'm hungry, but it doesn't bother me that much. And I am determined to live with that feeling, enjoy the light meals that I eat, enjoy the satisfaction they give for as long as it lasts, and feel hungry until I have permission to eat again. I've been eating suppers earlier than I used to, so I'm proud of myself for that. I've been eating by 5 o'clock-ish, whereas before I could be eating anywhere between 6:30 and 8:30, depending on the circumstances of the day. And so I'm glad that my eating window has gotten shorter, and I'm eating 3 meals a day and not snacking. So I feel good about all those things. The reason I'm adding prune juice today, I was going to add that maybe a little bit later, but I'm going to bump that up to today because I haven't had like a bowel movement in a week. I don't know if that's probably sounds like, that sounds terrible. Like that's really unhealthy and that sounds like personal information. But I had the impression that something I'd read or heard said that when you fast, your digestion slows down, obviously, but your elimination process will increase. But I have not found that to be true. I also don't feel any discomfort. I don't feel like I should be going to the bathroom and I need to, but I can't. I don't feel that. I don't feel anything in that area of my body. I feel completely fine. But since I'm taking this parasite support stuff, and since I'm not having an elimination process, I think prune juice would be the next logical step to see if it can get things moving in that direction, because I'd like to start getting things moving and get the old out before I start adding additional foods, especially heavier foods, before I get to carbs other than the rice, and oils, fats, and proteins. White rice probably is not the ideal first carb to introduce. Perhaps quinoa or something would have been better, but I don't have a lot of good recipes and good luck with quinoa. I have to still work with that. And white rice is really easy to incorporate because it can be used in other dishes that I prepare for my family. I'm gonna do brown rice soon, but I just wanted to start with white rice because it's so easily digestible. So I just wanna keep things light, and I'm gonna work up to better, more fibrous whole foods. So that's been my experience. Yesterday, I didn't really feel all that good. It was the first time I felt a little pressure in my forehead. I'm very thankful I have not had headaches. I totally expected headaches. Honestly, I never had headaches on any of the days or nights, so very thankful for that. But I felt a little pressure in my head yesterday, and something just told me it would be wise to eat that rice last night. So I did. So anyway, I have more to share. There are still 4 more days of my 7-day fast to cover. Well, 3, because I've done day 1, 2, 3, and 7. So I still have days 4, 5, and 6. Day 4 is going to be my favorite one to talk about. That was my most exciting day. Other than the day that I got to go to the spa. 4 is popcorn day, so I have a funny story about that. Whatever you're trying to do, hang in there. You can achieve your goals. Ask the Lord to bless your efforts. I believe He's blessing mine. He knows that I'm doing the best that I know, and I'm doing something hard, and He's right here with me. And I've been told that I look a little younger and my skin looks good. So I'm happy about that. Okay, God bless. Bye-bye.